What's up everybody, Griffey here. Some of the most memorable figures in TV history are certified geniuses, but they wouldn't be very interesting if they did everything completely right. These characters prove that big brains can't stop people from making even bigger mistakes. You remember House, right? The hospital where 97% of patients were misdiagnosed? Thank goodness, Dr. Gregory House is a medical mastermind and had a knack for properly diagnosing patients and finding unorthodox ways to save them. Go back and watch an episode or two. You're going to find a surprising number of STD jokes, like more than I'm even comfortable making. You probably didn't forget that House is an abrasive narcissist who tends to treat human beings more like test subjects. But he was lovable, so it's all good. In the House Season 5 episode Last Resort, a lone gunman takes House, 13, several patients, and a few other hospital personnel hostage in Cuddy's office. The man, named Jason, has been very sick for a while, and he's holding hostages in order to get treatment from the best doctor in the hospital. House is delighted, as always, at the chance to solve another medical mystery.
What about an x-ray or something? Good idea. Oh, damn. I left my CT machine in my other pants.
Unfortunately, House's thirst for another puzzle leads him to a point where he actually returns the gun to Jason after giving him an MRI. You'd think that do no harm includes not giving a weapon to an unstable man, but House's interpretation of the Hippocratic Oath seems to be different from everyone else's.
You're so afraid of being ordinary, of being just another doctor, just another human being, that you'll risk other people's lives.
But you know what? House was right. He got the diagnosis correct. So the moral of the story is, I don't know what the moral is, but he was right. Just because you can invent something doesn't mean you should. That's never stopped Rick Sanchez though, who's built everything from a tiny universe that powers his car to a method of turning people into pickles. Rick and Morty is full of moments in which Rick's genius comes back to bite him, but none have had more disastrous results than his love serum from season 1. In the episode Rick Potion number 9, Morty tells Rick that he has a crush on his classmate Jessica and asks for a love serum in order to seduce her. Rick whips up a concoction without much trouble, and it works great. A little too great. It latches onto Jessica's flu virus and becomes airborne, affecting everyone on the planet outside of the Sanchez-Smith family.
Morty, come on, we gotta get you out of here. You're not gonna believe this because it usually never happens, but I made a mistake.
Rick tries to invent his way out of this mess, but he only makes it worse, causing people everywhere to mutate into distorted monsters, which seems like an oddly specific side effect. After his third attempt, he decides that the entire universe is compromised. So he transports Morty and himself to a nearly identical parallel universe where they take the places of another Rick and Morty who just got blown up. Parallel universes, what can't they solve? But Rick did technically solve the problem, which is the best way of solving things. Technically. Tyrion Lannister was a Game of Thrones fan favorite from the start. Peter Dinklage's Hand of the King understands the difference between right and wrong, while not allowing that to hinder his work as a player in the great game. He's not a psychopath like his father Tywin, but he also doesn't adhere to a black and white morality like Ned Stark. In Season 7, when Daenerys arrives at Dragonstone, she has a huge army and 3 dragons, plus Tyrion as her hand. By the time Tyrion's first military stratagem is over, Daenerys has lost all her allies in Westeros and most of her fleet. It's a massive failure and it's all Tyrion's fault.
We have a plan. It's still the right plan.
The right plan. Your strategy has lost us Dawn, the Iron Islands, and the Reach.
If Tyrion had let Daenerys land Drogon directly at the keep right away, as she and her allies wanted, countless lives would have been saved. There might have been collateral damage, but nothing that compares to the alternative losses, as Cersei wouldn't have had time to prepare. Tyrion gives some reasoning to Daenerys about the common people, blah blah blah, but it's hard for her not to think that he just wanted to avoid deep frying his siblings. His abject failure would probably be talked about a lot more today if Season 8 hadn't been such a train wreck. For a show about consistently lying to the cops, Psych tends to be pretty lighthearted. If you don't remember Psych, the basic premise was Shawn Spencer, raised by a father intent on honing his sharp mind and eidetic memory into the perfect investigative tool, is forced to tell the police that he is a psychic detective in order to prevent his own arrest. After that, Shawn and his best friend / investigative partner Gus are regularly hired as consultants for the Santa Barbara Police Department on major cases. Shawn's life becomes nearly perfect when he and SBPD detective Juliet O'Hara finally begin dating in season 5. Most of the time, when a main character is keeping a secret from their romantic partner or a close friend, they seem a little conflicted about it. This isn't the case with Shawn, who lives by the code, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Shawn dates Juliet for 2 years before she finds out he's not a psychic, and he isn't even the one to break the news.
Falling in love with you was never part of the plan, okay? This whole thing started because my ass was on the line.
Had Shawn chosen to tell Juliet his secret from the jump, it's likely that her reaction would not have been as strong as it was. Instead of a confession, Juliet figures it out via a clue hidden in Shawn's jacket pocket. She's a detective. Her job is to detect things. The breakout character from Family Matters, Steve Urkel, manages to be a genius and a goofball at the exact same time. He's a brilliant inventor, a true genius when it comes to anything related to science or engineering, but he's also like the Scrappy-Doo of live-action TV. In the season 7 opener, Little Big Guy, Steve moves in with the Winslows and begins taking materials from the house for his laboratory, which he wants to set up in the basement. Carl is initially furious because the basement is his private space, but Steve promises him large profits from his recent invention, the Urkel squashalization chamber.
Now, through geometric bifurcation of a factual vector, I can escalate the electron particles.
What?
I can make stuff bigger.
Steve tests this highly experimental and volatile invention without any form of protection for himself or Carl, who seemingly has no idea that danger could strike at any moment. The machine short circuits and spews glowing goo, predictably shrinking Steve and Carl each to the size of a TV remote.
Now, Carl, there's no reason to get short with me. Okay, poor choice of words.
Steve should definitely know better than to turn on a nearly untested scientific device without taking serious precautions. Perhaps he should have brought the chamber to an actual laboratory and won a Nobel Prize in physics, but that wouldn't be as much fun to watch. When you think of fake presidents, there's been some great ones. David Palmer, Thomas Whitmore, Gerald Ford. But you know who is really great? President Jed Bartlet is a great man. At least that's what the West Wing creator Aaron Sorkin wants you to think. Bartlet has the kind of mind that comes along once in a generation, and if it weren't for the savagery and selfishness that pervades American politics, he might be able to accomplish a lot more in the Oval Office than he does. Bartlet's strong instincts and moral code mean that he's not afraid to do the opposite of what his advisors tell him will be politically savvy, but sometimes the political reality prevents him from doing so. In the season 5 episode Han, a touring musician comes to the White House to meet the president. This particular musician, Jae-Young-an, is an intensely gifted piano player from North Korea, and he is accompanied by a North Korean military escort. Jae secretly requests asylum in order to escape the dictatorship, setting off debate within the White House. Bartlet's instincts tell him to fulfill the request, but his advisors ask that he deny the musician's request in order to protect North Korea's attendance at upcoming talks regarding nuclear weapon testing and non-proliferation. Bartlet reluctantly agrees to deny Jae, personally devastated by having to do so. Almost as soon as Jae and his escorts have left, however, Bartlet learns that North Korea has pulled out of the talks anyways, meaning that he sent the musician away for nothing. Gerald Ford would never. Ted Lasso is known for being good, wholesome fun, and the one reason to get Apple TV. But that doesn't mean there's no darkness present within the sports comedy series. Case in point, Nate Shelley, who learns the hard way that turning on a friend never pays. Nate's defection to the dark side, which takes the form of Rupert's newly purchased football club, may seem like it comes on a bit suddenly, but it's actually something that's foreshadowed as early as season 1. Nate has pretty low self-confidence when he first meets Ted, and it's only due to the coach's energetic support that Nate is able to come into his own and present his true genius as a strategist.
I've noticed of late that you've been playing like a big dumb.
The confidence that Nate builds in season 1 also comes with a chip on his shoulder. After all, he's eventually comfortable issuing verbal takedowns to anyone he deems deserving. Nate's attitude becomes more twisted as season 2 goes on, showcasing both his jealousy that Roy is receiving Ted's support and the details of his relationship with his judgmental father. That said, Nate doesn't truly fall from grace until he decides to tell sports reporter Trent Krem about Ted's recent panic attacks. Trent feels obligated as a journalist to report the news, but he also feels obligated as Ted's friend to tell him who leaked it. That just makes it even clearer to Nate that his betrayal was a mistake. Or Ted Lasso just got worse every season. It's either that, or the character decisions, or both. In Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Master Yoda teaches Luke Skywalker to use the Force not just to move objects, but to see important visions of the past and future. He knows exactly how important these visions can be, considering that he ignored them so much that the entire Jedi Order fell. In the Clone Wars, Yoda is considered to be the wisest of the Jedi with a strong connection to the Force. It's his go-to method of solving problems, but that doesn't mean he always follows his own advice. In Season 6, Yoda's Force visions reveal the imminent rise of the Empire, which is probably something that the other Jedi would have appreciated a heads up about. It usually doesn't work out well when people who see the future attempt to alter the course of events. But why else would the Force be granting Yoda these visions? Instead of actually doing anything to prevent the rise of Vader and Palpatine though, Yoda instead chooses to witness the fall of the Jedi Order before exiling himself to the planet-sized swamp of Dagobah. And he never even uses Jedi Skype to talk to any of the other Jedi. Yoda doesn't get nearly enough blame in the Star Wars franchise.